I've never seen it tell me that you're recording. Wow.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Kella Price, United States of America, Arizona's director. I'm here today with Dr. Anika Goodwin of Opulent Lash Life. We're going to talk about lashes and beauty, and it's going to be a very uplifting. I'm super excited to have you on this show. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Kella. I'm excited too.
You are an ophthalmologist. How did you get interested in ophthalmology?
It was very roundabout because when I went to medical school, I never ever dreamed I would be an eye surgeon. Never once did it enter my mind. As a matter of fact, I thought I hated eyes. I thought they were really gross. And then I started to go through my rotations, determined that I loved surgery, which I came in thinking that would be the case. I love working with my hands. I love fixing things. I'm very creative. And went through several rotations and just couldn't find something that clicked with me. I didn't find the thing that I loved. It wasn't that attraction that I thought I would have. So I finally settled on a specialty. I thought I was going to be an OBGYN and deliver babies, and went through that rotations, interviewed for that position, and did an ophthalmology rotation just on a whim, just thinking, okay, I'll finish up my interviews. This rotation's pretty easy. And I did it and I loved it. It was literally love at first sight, no pun intended. I came home from my rotation that day and I told my spouse, I said, I want to do ophthalmology. I love it. It was just, there's something about looking into the back of an eye. It's beautiful. It's different every time. There's so much, um, there can be so much pathology hidden there. So you never know what you're going to see. Sometimes we're the first people to diagnose things like tumors or other disease states, lupus, those sorts of things. And so it was just an adventure every single patient, and I loved it.
That's so cool. Science is definitely not my thing. But I have seen pictures when I've gone to an eye exam and they show you what your eye looks like. And it is interesting. I feel like I'm looking at
Mhm.
like craters on the moon almost.
It kind of feels that way. We are one of the few specialties that has the ability without any kind of special equipment like MRIs or CT scanners. We can see the brain, the optic nerve. What we're looking at in the back is an extension of the brain. And so I feel privileged to be able to do what I do. I love it. I could not dream of doing anything else. I am thankful that I discovered my purpose.
That's awesome. Now, what barriers have you overcome as a woman and specifically a Black woman in medicine?
Mhm. Ophthalmology and most of the surgical specialties when I went through medical school, I'm going to date myself. I graduated from medical school in 2001. So 19 years ago, most of the surgical specialties, ophthalmology included, were predominantly male. They just were. There were very few women who were breaking through those glass ceilings and through those barriers and practicing surgical specialties. Many times, women would go to medical school and become either a pediatrician, a family practitioner, internal medicine. And at that time, OBGYN was still predominantly male. And you probably hear that now. Some of you younger people are like, oh, really? There are men who do OB because there's so many women now. But it wasn't always that way. So as a woman, that was difficult. Ophthalmology is one of the specialties in medicine that it is difficult to match in. So I felt like I was at a bit of a disadvantage because most of these very small programs, anywhere from 2 to 4 people, were 2 to 4 men. So that made me feel like I might be at a disadvantage and that I had to work harder and be better. Being a Black woman is so interesting you asked that question because I was just on a panel last night where we were talking about beauty concepts as they relate to our professional lives. And we talked about not being able to wear our hair the way we want, express ourselves through that the way we want. And that was absolutely the case. As I was interviewing for ophthalmology, as I was going through my training, we did our best to just kind of blend. You didn't wear a lot of makeup. You didn't wear a lot of flashy clothes. And that was hard for me because my personality is kind of one that's out there and very bright. So I felt like I had to be a little bit less than my authentic self in order to be successful.
And I feel like now, as a business person, that has kind of shifted and encouraging people to be more their authentic self and be more original and true to having that freedom to express yourself has gone so much, even in the last couple of years as we've had Generation Z come into the workplace.
Absolutely. And I know that is one of the reasons why entrepreneurship has become so popular. It's because people no longer want to have to go to work every day, put themselves in a box. They found that not only can they pursue the thing they love, but in doing so, they can be 100% their authentic self every single day. There is something very liberating about that.
There is, for sure. Speaking of being an entrepreneur, how did you decide to create a lash brand?
Well, I'm a lash maven myself. I have always loved lashes. I've never been a huge makeup girl, just because with a busy life, busy job, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I have 2 girls. I've never had a lot of time to spend putting on full faces of makeup. But lashes and a little bit of lip gloss or lipstick did it for me. I felt like they elevated my look so much. And I could, in a very short amount of time, feel very pulled together and go into the hospital or go into the office feeling confident, feeling like I looked my best. And so I discovered, my story is a lot like yours. I discovered individual lash extensions. That was probably about 4 years ago. I wore individual lash extensions faithfully for about 2.5, 3 years. And had it not been for um, other entrepreneurial activities coming up in my life, I may still be an individual lash extensions wearer. What happened for me was I got to a point where I was so busy with all the different activities in my life, I did not have time to go and spend that hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how fast your technician is, going to get my fill-ins. And so it got to a point where my lashes looked worse than they did just naturally. So I finally let them go. What I discovered when all of my lash extensions finally came off, and I didn't pull mine, I let them just fall off naturally. My lashes were shorter and stubbier and thinner and more frail than they had ever been. I'm not a hairy person. I don't have a lot of brows. I don't have a lot of hair in general. But this was the worst probably my lashes had ever looked. And I realized all the damage I had been doing with the adhesive. And to be honest, I probably felt worse than anyone else because I'm an eye surgeon. I should have known better. So what I did was I started to nurture my eyelashes more using growth serums and things like that. but I missed my lashes. I missed that pulled together look. I didn't feel quite as confident without that. And so I started to look for other ways that I could have that, but have it in a healthier way. And that was when I discovered magnetic lashes. I started to use the ones that were already on the market. I felt they were a little bit clunky, a little heavy, and I felt like they could be better. And if I was going to wear them continuously day in and day out, I knew that they had to be better. So I just started working on trying to improve what I can improve to make the wearing experience that much better for myself. And then discovered, just talking to friends and colleagues, that other women wanted this as an option too. And so that's how Opulent Simply Beauty was born.
And for someone who has never used magnetic lashes, can you describe to them how they work?
Absolutely. So, magnetic lashes, there are two types. The type that was out there first involved two sets of lashes. There was an upper and a lower. Each set had magnets, and the magnets were attracted to one another. And so, basically, the two sets of extensions sandwich your natural lashes. As you can imagine, just from my description, that was not an easy thing to pull off, to get all the magnets lined up, to get everything straight. And so, a lot of women didn't adopt it that point. It was still too much of a difficult learning curve to master. And then came magnetic liner. And so magnetic liner is what you think of as typical eyeliner that you would use, but it has the addition of iron oxide particles. Now, the question that many people ask when they hear that is, oh my gosh, iron oxide, is that good for your eyes? Well, if you look at the labels of most of your products you've been using for years, even your lipsticks, many of them have iron oxide particles in them. It is totally safe, and that is by way of the FDA. It's totally safe for using cosmetics and has been used for many, many years. And so the trick with the magnetic liner is the concentration of iron oxide particles is higher. And that higher concentration causes an attraction between tiny magnets on the back of the eyelash extension and the iron oxide particles in the liner. So once you line your eyes like you normally would, we have liquid and gel formulations just above your lash line. When you put the magnetic lash extension close to the liner, you'll feel an attraction, and the magnetic lash extension will literally just sit there and be there all day.
They do stay on quite well. And as someone who had never used magnetic lashes prior to your brand, specifically because I did have friends that said that they were hard to put on and that they were
Mhm.
maybe too large for the eye and you couldn't trim them
Yes.
because of where the magnets were. I never really tried them. However, being into fitness and whatnot, I have used the lashes that you apply the glue
Mhm.
and glue them on, and those were very tricky. Certainly wasn't something I wanted to do each and every day.
They're tricky, and the glue, the adhesive that many times people use to apply these lashes has formaldehyde. And formaldehyde is the stuff that we use in medicine when we remove a lesion or something that we put our specimen in, or that you may have heard used in funeral homes in order to fix bodies or embalm bodies. Many of these adhesives contain formaldehyde, which is not good for your eyes.
No, but your product is safe for use with contacts and sensitive skin.
It is. It absolutely is. So that's one of the things as I was working through, I wanted to be sure of. I sometimes wear contacts myself. I would wear it with contacts. I would take it off and let a little bit get into my eyes to make sure that the irritation wasn't too much. I would let my 16-year-old try them too, to see how she felt in them, because she wasn't normally a makeup wearer or anything like that. And so we went through several tests with colleagues, and these were other physicians who I knew would give it to me straight. And I was very confident when we released the line that this was something that would be well tolerated for most any woman. Does that mean that you can't have a reaction? It absolutely doesn't. There's some people, no matter how something is formulated, they may react to it. But the vast majority of women should have no issues using it.
That's great. I was turned on to your lashes because of the aspects of safety, knowing that you're an ophthalmologist and that was part of your focus or concern. And as you mentioned, the lash glue can be really bad for you. As an ophthalmologist, tell us about what we need to stay away from or avoid to encourage good eye health, not just necessarily lashes, but in general.
Absolutely. So one of the easiest things is wear sunglasses. Avoid long periods of direct sunlight right onto your eyes. Number one, those things can accelerate the formation of cataracts. And number two, for instance, if you're at the beach sunbathing, the sun can actually cause sun blindness. You may have heard of that before. It's basically where the back of the eye, the macula, gets way too much direct, intense light, and it can cause a loss of vision. One popular um, place you've heard this mentioned is with eclipses. You can't watch a solar eclipse because it can hurt your eyes. Same thing is true if you're out in the sun for long periods of time at the beach. Second thing, don't sleep in your contacts. Use really good hygiene. Wash your hands really well. Always take them out at night before you go to sleep and then replace them the next morning. Don't overuse your contacts. Use them for the appropriate amounts of time. A lot of people who wear contacts and don't adhere to this can have issues that can cause long-term loss of vision due to scarring on their cornea. Number three, don't rub your eyes, and especially this time of year when allergies are really, really bad, and people are sneezing, eyes are watery, and they're itchy. Instead, go to the pharmacy, pick up something over the counter to help with the itching. Constant rubbing can cause a lot of stress on your cornea and can cause vision changes. Number four, wear eye protection when you're out working in the yard. This time of year, it is not uncommon for me to see people come into the emergency room with full thickness cuts on their eyeball because they were weed eating, something popped up, and they did not have on eye protection. And I can tell you, not a single spring goes by that I don't see at least two or three people who have had this happen to them, and some of them end up losing their eye. So I cannot stress the importance enough of wearing eye protection when you're outside working in the yard. Number five, don't smoke. Smoking causes a lot of issues with the blood flow in the eyes. It can exacerbate some conditions, some health conditions that can become worse in your eyes as a result of smoking. Thyroid disease is one of those. And so avoid cigarette smoke if you can. And last but not least, get adequate sleep and rest. Your eyes will thank you for it and they'll look better.
Thank you. Those are some great tips, and making sure that you wear eye protection. Coming from Arizona, that's kind of a given. You go outside and you're like, oh, my sunglasses.
Right.
But for some other individuals that maybe aren't in places that are sunny day after day, that's really important to make sure you have those glasses. And I have a son who has blue eyes, and I know his eyes are
Yes.
especially sensitive as well. So
And they don't have to be expensive sunglasses, Dr. Keller. I want to add that. Don't think you have to break the bank to have a good pair of sunglasses. Just look at the label on your sunglasses. You can pick up sunglasses from the dollar store. As long as they say that they protect you from UVA and UVB, you are okay. So you don't have to break the bank. Same thing for your kids. Buy kitty sunglasses for them.
that's a great tip. We want to protect our eyes because just like any other part on our body, we only get one set of eyes. So we need to make sure we take care of them. And as I get
Absolutely.
older, I'm taking that eye health and vision for granted. I'm realizing how precious it is. I recently had to get trifocals.
I need some trifocals right now. You can see me here with my glasses on my nose. I do this because I don't need my glasses to see far, but I need them to see closer up. So if I look at my keyboard, so I have glasses everywhere for this reason. When you get, and I used to have perfect vision, 2015 vision. So
Mhm.
like you, when you get to that certain age and you start to lose some of that perfect vision you had, you really understand why you have to take care of your eyes.
Absolutely. Now, before transitioning to the opulent lashes, I was a lash
Mhm,
extension girl like you, and it did ruin
mhm,
my natural lashes. I habitually went to a lash girl who was amazing, and I loved having the lashes for the same reason you mentioned. Lashes make you feel put together, even if you don't have a full face of makeup on.
mhm,
It gives you self-confidence that you wouldn't normally have, and element of natural beauty. And I feel like in today's
mhm.
society, having lashes is one of those self-care things that a lot of women are doing, just like nail polish. It's something that it has become a part of their daily routine.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've been using lash serum now to regrow my lashes because I felt like a Mexican hairless cat when my lashes finally did fall out. It was terrible. But
Mhm.
it's been great being able to use the lashes, and a huge money saver from the perspective of a lash extension and the magnetic lashes. And to have another option with COVID-19 when all the salons have been closed has been really great. For those who are diehard lash extension lovers, why should they try a magnetic lash instead?
It is just safer for your eyes for all the reasons you just mentioned. For both of our stories, having worn lash extensions for years, I can tell you that they are not healthy for your natural lashes. The reason why in my line I've tried to come up with lashes that are specifically for certain populations of women, pageant contestants, cheer and dance athletes, people who wear lashes as a part of their way of life. It's super important because what will happen is some we have some little girls who are in pageants and who are already wearing lashes that they put on with adhesive because there weren't any other options for so long. And so what happens as these young girls grow up, continue in the pageant trails, and continue to wear these adhesive lashes, when these girls are in their 30s, they're not going to have any lashes, or they're going to have really short, unhealthy lashes. As an ophthalmologist, lashes have a purpose other than somewhere to put mascara, somewhere to hold our lash extensions. Our lashes are our eyes' first line of defense. And so to think of these little girls going years and years using these unhealthy extensions and getting to a point where they don't have their first line of defense bothered me as an eye surgeon. And so whenever I can come up with a fix for people who wear lashes as a way of life, it gives me some relief that they're at least going to have the option out there so that they can have healthy eyes for a lifetime, not because they couldn't, because they didn't have good options.
And I love that your lashes are mink and cruelty free. How do they get the mink hairs?
They brush the tail of the mink, and that's how they get them. It's a naturally hair that they shed. If anybody out there has a dog, you know what I mean. When you brush your dog, the dog naturally sheds. It doesn't hurt your dog. It's actually healthier for your dog. And so the mink used from my lashes is sourced exactly that way. It is Siberian mink, and that is how it is sourced.
That's really cool. I bet the minks like getting that extra little brushing treatment.
Exactly.
Spoiled
They're
minks.
kind of cute little animals. Mink is the superior material to use for lashes because it's lighter. And so the lashes that I tried before I created Opulence MD, they were not mink. And I think that was one of the reasons why they felt so much heavier. So we have a line that is launching very soon, maybe tomorrow, that is a alternative. It is a non-mink line for those who just prefer totally vegan options. And also for those who prefer a slightly lower priced option. But I will tell you, you will notice a slight difference. They are a bit heavier than our mink extensions are.
These lashes are super light, I've noticed. Um, you don't get the eye fatigue because it does add some weight to your eyelid when you put
It
on
does.
something extra. And certainly the more full the lash, the heavier the lash is going to be on your eye. Now,
Absolutely.
I was introduced for your product when you were a sponsor for the United States of America pageants, and you have a number of lashes for pageant girls suitable for interviews, appearances, stage. I love the options. How does someone choose the right option for them?
So, several things. The length of the eye, the shape of the eye. Do you have a deep set eye? Do you have a hooded eye? There's so many different parameters to take into account. So first, for us, we try to help you narrow down a lash style. Are you a glam lash girl? Do you like a heavy lash or a more look at me lash? Or are you a more conservative lash maven? If you are, then that puts us into certain categories, and then we can help you based on the length, contour, age-related changes in your eyes. Choose the best lash. You brought up something about your friends mentioning they didn't like magnetic lashes because they couldn't be cut and adjusted. Well, many pageant women are either little girls or very petite ladies and can have a shorter eyelid length than someone else who is more of an average height and size. And so my crown collection, all the lashes in the crown collection are available in a petite lash band length, which means that no cutting should be necessary. They come in a length that is ready to be applied without any manipulation. And I've created that basically because that's what the pageant ladies said that they needed.
That's great. And I have on today one of the lashes from that line. I have
Beautiful. Which one are you wearing?
the Hello Queen lash.
Yes, yes. I
Yesterday
love
or
it.
a couple days ago, I wore the Raining. I haven't tried these ones at the bottom. Maybe tomorrow I will try
Mhm.
those. But
And
I've been
those are royal.
trying them for
Mhm.
different things. But I can tell you that these are great wearing. I wear them all day long. I've worn them out in my convertible with the top down. I've worn your lashes for fitness and working out,
Yep,
and I haven't had any issues. If you get the nice layer of eyeliner and
exactly.
stick them on, you line them up, and then you
They
just
literally pop into
usually just
place.
brush them a little bit, and they're ready to go for the day. And you almost forget that you have them on.
Agree. I have forgotten I have them on and jumped in the shower. So yes, I get it. But I think the biggest thing, the biggest fear is there are ladies who never learned how to apply lashes with glue. And so they're like, if I can't apply the ones with glue, I know I can't apply these. These are actually easier. And one of the things that we offer, we have application parties every once a month or twice a month, where people who want to purchase lashes or have already purchased lashes want to learn some tips and best practices on how to apply the lashes. We jump on a Zoom, lots of ladies who've been wearing them for a while or are new to them, and we talk about, I go through literally with the mirror right here and show you how to put them on, and other ladies give you tips that they've discovered as well. So it becomes fun.
It is super fun, and it does definitely get easier, and it's way easier than glue. I sometimes with the glue, had to take the lashes off and start
Yep.
over. You got to time the glue so it's just sticky enough,
Tacky.
but
Hmm.
not. And then you got to be careful. I've glued my eyes closed, and those are a whole challenging thing, and they can definitely
Yes.
be super scary. But I haven't had to trim mine either. I don't think I
Hmm.
have excessively large eyes by any standard, and they fit my eye length just fine how they are as well.
You're tall, Kella. How tall are you?
About 5'10".
5'10". So this is not a study I've done, but it's something I've noticed. So I am about 5'11" and a half. And I noticed that taller women, we almost never have to trim our eyelashes. They tend to be good or either sometimes a little short. It's the really petite ladies and the younger girls that I find have trouble getting the lash to fit their eyelids without a little bit of manipulation. So that's kind of a unofficial thing. I need to do a study on it, but I found that is the case with taller women. We usually have no issues.
Now, one of our queens, our United States of America, Mrs. Arizona, is undergoing radiation for cancer right now. So it's a topic near and dear to our hearts. And I know that self-esteem can be so difficult when you're undergoing treatments and you've lost energy and you feel tired and you don't feel hungry and you certainly don't feel pretty. And sometimes
Mhm.
you lose your hair and you have physical sickness. Now, you continue to give to this community by providing magnetic lashes to women who are suffering with cancer, hair loss. This is a great idea. How did you get started in doing that?
There's a nurse that I had the opportunity to work with when I worked at the VA hospital. young lady, younger than me, had recently got married, recently had a beautiful little boy, and was diagnosed with breast cancer. And we were all devastated because, it's just not supposed to happen to people who are young and vibrant and just getting their lives started. And she underwent treatment and lost all of her hair and lashes, brows, hair on her head, everything. And this was shortly after I launched, and I sent her lashes. And the video that she made me literally made me cry. It made her feel so much more feminine, so much more like her normal self, just with a pair of lashes. And that was when I knew that was something I had to do, because every woman should have at least that one bright spot as they're going through the journey that is cancer.
I agree. It's such a hard time, and giving someone that boost can really make a difference for their mental well-being and just to make them feel better.
Yes.
At this time in our lives with the quarantine, it's a very stressful time. Many people are still either self-quarantined at home or limiting events out. Why is it still important to use beauty products when we're in our own house, hanging out with the kids?
Because right. It keeps our spirits up. It keeps us feeling some sense of normalcy. Um, because there's been nothing normal about 2020 so far. Everything about 2020 has been nothing like many of us imagined. And so we long for something that is normalcy. And one of those things is getting up, continuing to get dressed, continuing to do our hair, to do our makeup, those sorts of things. If you think about periods in your life where you were depressed or you were down, those are periods where you stayed in bed, you didn't get dressed, there was no self-care, you didn't take care of your hygiene, you didn't do basic things for yourself. And all of those things contributed to that down mood. And so when you started to come out of that depression, out of that sadness, the things that you started to do were, excuse me, were self-care things. And so continuing to do those things and not stopping during this time of self-quarantine, of social isolation, help us not to go into those kind of states of sadness and depression, because it gives us some sense of normalcy. And that's what we're all wanting right now.
Yes, getting back to normal and taking good care of ourselves. I know when I put on a full face or even just throw on some lashes and lipstick to go for a walk around the neighborhood with my kids, I feel so much better for the entire day. And taking care of myself, doing a bath and giving myself a manicure once a week,
Mhm.
those things have been great lifesavers for me in terms of warding off some of the anxiety and depression, or minimizing some of that, because I've definitely had my moments through this whole quarantine of struggle, like I'm sure so many others. But it is great for your own mental health to try to continue a pattern and take good care of yourself, because it does make you feel better and it helps you snap out of that when you need, even if you're just going outside to enjoy a coffee on your front porch. Get dressed, get out of those pajamas, throw on some lipstick
Yes.
so when the neighbor walks by you can wave and
Yes.
smile.
One of the best things I've noticed during this quarantine is I have gone to Walmart a few times, because early on I was like, I'm going to get a bike. I haven't ridden a bike in a while. That would be fun. You cannot find any bikes at Walmart. And every time I go and look and I can't find one, I smile to myself, because I know people are doing things they never would have dreamed to stop and do before this quarantine. So one of the ways that we can keep our spirits up is to find positives. One of the positives is I get to spend full days with my children. That almost never happens because they're in school, I'm at work, we get home late, there's homework, there's food, there's this whole routine. But now we get to spend actual quality time together. They got a little UTV for Christmas. We get a chance, I'm sorry, my dog is barking now. We get a chance to go and ride it and just have fun in the middle of the day without any rush, to get schoolwork and other things done. So if we look for the positives, they are there.
For sure. I have had more opportunities to have dinners with my husband and plan something that's more relaxed of an evening instead of eating later and rushing through schoolwork and sports practices and schedules for the next day, and being able to spend that time even menu planning with my kids and what do you want to have for lunch today and what can we do outside to get active, and just enjoying that time together can be really an eye-opener to really embrace the things that you're missing out on or trying new things. And
Mhm.
now you
Absolutely.
have a special promotion for our viewers. I did put a link on the event page earlier today to take them to the Opulence MD webpage. There
Cool.
is a bit.ly link, bit.ly /Kella's Lashes. So if they need a link to go on there, they can go there. And you have a special offer for our viewers
I
today.
do. If you acted within the next 24 hours, you can get the Crown Collection, which is what Dr. Keller is wearing. You'll get 3 lashes. You'll get the magnetic gel liner and an applicator for 15% off. If you use Crown 15, that is CROWN Crown 15, you'll get a chance to experiment with 3 different styles, and you'll get the applicator and the liner, which is everything you need to get started. If you happen to be one of those petite queens that we mentioned, leave us a note and check out. I'll make sure that you get the petite versions of the lashes in your kit.
Great. That sounds amazing for someone to experience your product. I'm really excited to try the last one in my box maybe tomorrow. Thank you
Take
so much.
pictures like you always do.
I will for sure take pictures. Thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. Thank you for watching, viewers. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Dr. Keller.